being a heavy favorite, I guess obviously the fact that you're coming off 2 consecutive losses kind of wipes that any mindset out of the window.
I don't know who makes these betting lines, but I don't know why we're a heavy favorite. I mean, they're a good football team. They're Power 5 Pac-12 football team. They statistically they put up a lot of really good numbers. I mean, they scored a bunch of points against Ohio State, and I'm pretty sure Ohio State has a bunch of really good players. They've done a really nice job of moving the football. They're trying to. Coach Smith is doing a great job establishing their culture, and it'll be a great contest.
What do you see from the running game that's maybe unique compared to what you've seen in the last first one?
You know what? He's from the same family of the Coach Peterson with the Washington family. They run a lot of the same plays, a lot of the same formations. It's just different guys doing it. They're a little dinged up. One their best running back, or I don't know if he's their best one, but he's really fast and a really good football player. He's made a lot of explosive plays for him. I mean, they're one of the leading teams in the nation in explosive plays, and most of those are big run plays over 30 yards. Quarterback, they've got 2 of them that they've been playing. Jake Luton, the guy that's been starting for most of the time, number 6. He's tall. He's about 6'7". He's got a little bit of a dinged up ankle, but I heard on his press conference yesterday they think he's going to play. And so they have, he throws, he's probably the better of the 2 throwers, but number 2, he's just as dangerous with his arm. He's probably a little bit more athletic. He's not as tall, makes things happen out of the pocket. Both of them give a different dynamic, so you have to prepare for both of them. And they, like I said, statistically, they put up a lot of points and yards, and I mean they're like 40th in the country in total offense at almost 500 yards a game. So it's a really big challenge.
I know Jalen Harvey's kind of learning on the fly, especially after not getting a ton of reps in camp. How is that progressing?
It's progressing. He's one of the leading nationers in the nation in tackles at the safety position, which is good for a guy that played receiver for. It's great for a guy that played receiver for the last 3 years and for a guy. Period. It's a good deal. He's aggressive. We're still trying to teach him how to tackle the proper way. He's between. The safeties right now is probably where we're struggling the most on defense. I think at one point on Saturday night I asked Coach Edwards if we could fire the safety coach and if he'd take over coaching him because that guy's not doing a very good job, and that's me. Because we're making too many mistakes and we're not making enough plays in coverage. We have an opportunity we send pressure. We got a safety that's coming off on one of those stunts is going to hit Jake Browning in the back if we can get the quarterback to hold the ball for one more second, and we don't. He throws it up there. Now Fuller made an unbelievable catch in the end zone for that first touchdown, but we're right there. And the difference between really being good on defense is making those plays. And we've got good enough players that they just need to relax and when the ball's there, punch it out. And we do that stuff all the time. We do a lot of individual stuff. We're working on that. So we'll continue to progress and get better. But I got off a tangent. Jalen is doing, for where he's come from the spring, he's made a lot of really good progress, and he's helping us.
Just a curiosity, last year when preparing for Arizona State, how much of a focal point Jalen Harvey was when you were preparing your defensive game plan?
Quite a bit, actually. Now I give Nikhil, one a hard time all the time because from our game last year when they played San Diego State here to where he was at the end of the season was almost a completely different player. He started out fairly slow in the beginning of the season last year, and then by the end of the season he was one of the best receivers in the nation. And so going into that game, we knew he was big. We weren't worried that he was going to just be a big, huge concern, take us down the field and all that stuff. And he didn't. I think he had 1 catch for 14 yards in that game or whatever. Jalen Harvey caught a big corner out early in the first half. I thought Jalen was a really good route runner, hard to cover on the intermediate stuff. We didn't think he was going to be somebody that was going to take us over the top. We were more worried about Kyle Williams doing that and Frank Darby, which I think Frank Darby caught a 3rd and 37 on us for a touchdown, so ridiculous, shouldn't happen. But going back to Jalen, I thought he was really good at what he did, his craft, and he's trying to do that on defense. And give the kid credit. He works hard. It's important to him. He wants to be good, and I'm glad he's on our side because he's helped us.
Who's been your most consistent defensive player through 4 weeks?
The most consistent defensive player through 4 weeks has probably been Merlin Robertson. He's always in the right spot. 95% of the time, he's physical enough. Occasionally, he'll play something wrong more off of just experience, not so much technique or not being in the right spot. He'll take a guy on the wrong way, and he'll fight to get back in position. Sometimes it's a little bit too late, but he's probably by far been the most consistent. Darian Butler, he's getting a little beat up just because, I mean, I don't want to say he's undersized because he's 240 pounds, but the way he plays with as big as he is, his body is starting to take a toll here and there. I mean, he's got a bum wrist, gets a little bit dinged up in his hands, but the young man, he plays and practices like you want him all to. And yesterday in practice, I mean, we had to, at one point I had to tell him, I mean, I told Coach Pierce, I said, you know, rotate him out a little bit just to save him because he's going to kill somebody. And we want all those guys to be that way. And so I show them in tape and meetings about if you practice like this, we get all 11 guys practicing like this, we're going to be unbelievable on defense. Because if you can get them to play that fast and mean and physical, the other guys, they back off. They're not aggressive. When we get the line of scrimmage moving backwards, those guys are looking to catch us. They're not looking to strike us. And that's where we want to be. And we got a little bit gun shy. We gave up 2 big plays in the first half on Saturday in the first quarter. We gave up the touchdown pass, and we gave up a 30-yard play in a zone coverage. So then I got a little bit passive and started to try to protect the secondary a little bit so that they don't keep getting big chunk plays and move the ball. I mean, we were doing a good enough job on offense. We were moving the ball really well. We were able to get some points on the board. So it became a matter of don't give up big plays, make them drive the ball a little bit. They'll make a mistake, and either you get off the field with a turnover or you keep them out of the end zone. Well, for the majority of it, we kept them out of the end zone. We held them to some field goals. I mean, they end up with 27 points. We get beat 2 plays in coverage. The missed tackles was a concern. We have 2 opportunities on 3rd down that if we make a tackle in the backfield, and they're not hard tackles, they're guys just diving at ankles as opposed to running through their chest like we want them to, they're going to be 3rd and 15 and 3rd and 9. Well, those 2 plays, they were getting pretty conservative on 3rd and long because they did not want Jake Browning to get hit. They knew we were going to bring pressure, and they knew they were going to have a hard time blocking it. So their answer to that was either run the ball on the 3rd and longs and play passive and punt the ball away, or leave 9 guys in to protect and go with 2-man routes. Well, they did the 9 guys in protecting 2-man routes, and one time we can't cover a corner route. Well, that's where we've got to mature in the process of this and see how they're protecting us in the secondary, and we can see those things. And if the guys know, okay, they're believing 9 in, I'm going to stay on the outside because I got a free safety. And if they run a double move, they should be sitting there waiting for it. I mean, the very first play of the game, the interception, Chase did a great job, and that's a maturing deal too. We're in zone coverage. He's the deep third guy. We want those guys to be aggressive. They throw a bubble screen, and instead of Chase flying up there to go tackle the guy, he drops back because he knows it's something out of the ordinary, intercepts the ball. I mean, that was a great way to start, but then the next drive they go down and we give up 2 big plays and they score a touchdown. So the maturing process will keep getting better, and if they all continue to be consistent like Merlin, we'll be pretty good.
I know Merlin had high expectations coming in, but did you expect this from Darian when he came in? When he entered?
I knew he was a good enough player. We had to do some adjusting to get him here for the fall with our scholarship numbers, and he was important enough that way. Did I know he would be this successful? No, because I didn't know if he would be able to physically do what he's doing, and it's impressive. And I think Kalen Thomas has come on, and I think Kalen Thomas, and this is going to sound funny, Kalen Thomas being a junior in this program, Darian Butler setting the stage of what we want them to play like as a freshman, Kalen Thomas has gotten better because of Darian Butler. And we've got a few of those guys that Merlin and Darian are kind of leading the way, and those guys are starting to play like those guys now. The advantage I have, and Coach Pierce and Coach White and Coach Newell with Merlin and Darian, they've never been taught any other way. They were taught what they were taught in high school. In high school, they don't have as much time to spend with them as we do. So those guys are hearing it from one voice. They've only heard one voice from one scheme, from Coach Pierce, from myself. They hear it every day the same. So now they're doing it the exact way we want them to. Some of these guys that have been around here are having to break some habits, and along with now that they're starting to understand how we want them to do it our way, and they're seeing that it's working from those guys doing it, everybody's getting better. So Darian, I'm proud of him, because for a true freshman to play the way that those two have, that's almost unheard of. I got lucky. We had it last year at San Diego State with Tariq Thompson, and now we got it with these guys. So I'll take the credit.
How about DeMonte King? How would you evaluate what he's giving you right now?
DeMonte King is, he's played every snap on defense so far this season, and he's hot and cold. He does some really good things leadership-wise. He does some really good things out there communication-wise with those guys. He gets a little bit lost sometimes in the down and distance in those situations, which he was better this past week. 2 weeks ago against San Diego State, we got a couple 3rd and 9s that if he plays it, the 3rd and 9, if he realizes it, the down and distance, we probably get off the field on a couple of those 3rds that they converted. That's nothing against him. We asked those guys to do a whole lot of things. So now that 4 games into it, he's starting to figure out, okay, we got a boundary guy that's yelling out the down and distance every time. Instead of it just being white noise, he's got to pay attention to it. Or just look over and see it. We have a lot of calls on defense that all 11 guys have to know the down and distance because the stunt is going to be whether it's a run stunt or pass stunt based off of their down and distance tendencies. And so if those guys, once they continue to communicate that to each other, that's probably his biggest deficiency right now. He's done a pretty good job in man coverage when he understands those situations. He's blitzed a couple times, and we've got some decent pressure, and he's been probably our best sound tackler in the open field. So he's improved from game 1 to game 4, and if he keeps doing that, we'll be solid. I'm a little concerned at that position because we don't have a lot of depth. We don't have any experience there behind him. And if he gets hurt, we've got 2 guys that are battling to be there. They are not game ready yet, because if they are, in my experience, they play. I don't hide away from rotating anybody. So those guys need to do a little bit more in practice to prove that they're ready to play.
Keel yesterday said it's like 1 step forward and 2 steps back with this team. It kind of is. Would you say defensively it's a learning curve, or what do you think has been the difference in finishing these games?
I think it's a big learning curve. I think we had some success in weeks 1 and 2 because. 1, the very first game we were better than the team we played. You should beat people when you're better than they are. Week 2, we had a significant advantage in that it was 105 degrees and those guys got tired. They have never seen our scheme before. Michigan State has never played San Diego State. The coaching staff has never gone against what we do. When you don't see it, it's very hard to prepare for. The coaches don't have a hard time preparing for it. The kids do. The coaches have a good idea of what we're doing, kinda. But to try and get them taught in 3 days is really hard. Washington, they've seen that scheme we played them when Coach Peterson was at Boise. We played them 4 times while he was there. We played them 1 time when we were at San Diego State. We played Washington. San Diego State's seen that scheme for 10 years. So they can handle some of our stuff a little better. I thought Washington had a really good plan. They did some delay stuff that if we were a little bit more experienced in this scheme, wouldn't have worked because we'd had safeties flying through in there and somebody would end up with broken ribs. But we're just a little bit too passive yet trying to figure some of that stuff out. Oregon State will do some of that stuff. I hope we can send somebody through there and that'll happen. We'll see. We practiced it, we talked about it, and getting them to execute it is a little bit different. That comes with time and experience. We're going to go against some people in our conference that haven't seen what we do. We'll have some success. We're going to go against some people that we have better players than. We'll have some success. We've got to just continue to keep getting better each week, and by the end of the season, we'll be pretty good. 2 years down the road, we should be really good.
How do you feel your defense played on the road the last 2 games? What's your assessment?
We didn't win, so not good enough. We need to get off the field better on 3rd down. Against San Diego State, we were 4-14. That's okay. I want to be, if they get 14 tries, they should get 2 of them. I think we have an advantage on 3rd down if it's 3rd and 3 or more, because we can do some things that they're going to really struggle with. We were not very good against Washington on 3rd down, and we weren't very good against Washington because we missed tackles.